Happening, bro?
Hey, bro, how are you, man?
Good, man. Yourself?
Good, thank you. How was your Christmas?
Yeah, good, man. Very chill, which was nice.
Where it's nice when it's really busy everywhere else, just to kind of have a relaxing time.
Yeah, it was good, man. Just family, some good food. Not much else you could ask for, really.
Exactly. It's how it should be.
Exactly. You?
Yeah, same. Was nice. Spent the time with my nan, so that was good. Was working heaps the week before, so it was nice to just have a day off and relax and just spend time with, family and that. So can't complain either.
Yeah, nice, man.
Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for
Pleasure.
coming on. I'm excited to have this conversation with you and help more people learn about you. So should be a good one.
Definitely.
So first question is kind of how I know you're working with Mike, so I just kind of want to know how long that's been happening for and how that kind of all came about.
Yeah, so I've been working with Mike now. I think we just passed a year together. Um, yeah, started when I started training at his gym at the end of lockdown last year. And funny enough, he's my first coach. I haven't had a coach before him. I was doing my own thing.
Yeah,
But I think you get to a point where if you want to, get the most out of competing and take it as far as you can, you need someone that, has more knowledge than you.
definitely. Need that watchful eye. You can only do so
Definitely.
much.
Definitely. Look, I think it's been very beneficial, um, having Mike, being able to train at his gym, having him see me in person, and
Yeah.
like I had the benefit and the pleasure of last time we prepped at the start of the year of training with Mike for the whole prep.
Awesome.
Which most people know what Mike's like, and to have the opportunity to train with someone like him, um, yeah, that offer doesn't come around very often. So to take that opportunity, you know, I learnt so much through that prep, more than anything else.
Yeah. Really help kind of I can see how it would have helped, set that standard. You're pushing with it, training, pushing your hardest with a veteran in the sport,
Yeah,
soaking
man.
all the knowledge and kind of sometimes, we may not want to not put in 100%, but sometimes, training with someone, it can really help minimize that happening even on our low days and stuff like that when we really need to push hard, having that person there to, push
Well,
us.
yeah, and training with Mike, you don't have a choice but to put in 100%.
It's good. Means you're going to get the most amount of growth.
Yeah, that's it, man.
So does that mean the show that you did do with Mike and prep with, was that your first show or had you done a couple of shows prior by yourself?
Yeah, I'd done a few shows, before that. I think my last one before that was 2018.
Yeah.
I think I had done two shows in the IFBB and a couple in ICN before that. But yeah, the last showing was definitely my
Your best
best.
so far.
Yeah.
What kind of, because I know you're doing men's physique, what drew you to that division over, say something like classic or just going
Uh,
straight into bodybuilding?
Look, I'm a bodybuilding fan through and through.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and kid myself and say, I'm the next Big Ramy or Chris Bumstead. I just feel like I fit into the men's physique category at the moment. And look, I'm a competitive person at the best of times, so I'd rather be in a category that I know I can be competitive in and have a good run at it rather than do a 20-week prep just to get a participation medal.
Yeah. That's
So,
fair. You didn't know.
so yeah, like look, the aim is definitely to go and get into classic.
I,
Whenever the right time may be. But for the time being, like I said, I like to be competitive. If it means that I get a pro card in men's physique, fantastic.
yeah.
But there's no rush to jump into other categories prematurely.
Hmm.
Like I said, I'm not going to kid myself. I don't. I'm a realist, I guess. I know where I stand. I know where my size is at. And there's a lot of great classic guys. There's a lot of
Definitely.
bodybuilding guys, especially coming through in Australia. So, yeah, man, we keep pushing for as long as we can, and the results will follow.
So would you say that's an interesting mindset? I do, I can appreciate that and I understand where you're kind of coming from. Would you say that kind of stems from you just wanting to compete? So you're going, okay, well, based off my physique and I wanting to compete, we'll just do men's physique, and then like you're saying, you'll just, as the time goes and years go by, you'll continue to grow. And if you outgrow men's physique, or maybe you think your physique's reached that level where you can step in a classic lineup, is that kind of how?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Bodybuilding is a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely.
You know, it takes time to get that good muscle on that's going to stick, and it's not going to happen in a year or 2 years. In saying that, though, season B next year we'll jump into classic as well as men's physique.
Test, feel the waters.
Yeah, test the waters and look, see where I fall. If it ends up being that I place better in classic than I do men's physique, then fantastic. But if not, it's not going to deter me from it. A good, I guess, outline or blueprint would be Logan Franklin. He ran men's physique for as long as he could. Jumped into classic, and he's competitive. Kyron Holden, same, one of the guys that placed top 6 at the Olympia that just passed in men's physique. He's jumping across the classic now. So
same as Chris Andreas, or whatever his name is, who Hani.
That's coached by Hani. Yeah. There's no rush to jump across. Like I said, we put a lot of time and effort into prepping. And the last thing I want to do, like I said, I'm a competitive person. Last thing I want to do is do a whole 20-week prep, 24-week prep, however long it is, just to stand on stage and be like, thanks, guys, I took part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Done enough of that when I was younger. So I think it's time now that whatever I do, I'm going in with the intent
100% to win.
And like I said, whatever category that's in, it at the moment, it doesn't phase me too much.
Yeah. Before, I'd like to touch on, because I'd like to pull up, I think it's one of your latest check-ins or updates, physique updates, because I like to show everybody that if they haven't seen it, and kind of talk about, especially now that you're going into classic, because I think you have a really good physique. Your upper body is really developed.
Yeah.
But before that, I just wanted to find out, so you have what kind of drew you, I guess, to bodybuilding or competing in that sense? Because you're saying that you wanted to compete, that's why you started off with men's physique, that's kind of how you felt your body was at this time.
Yeah.
So what kind of drew you to getting into the competing side of bodybuilding?
Honestly, I wouldn't say something drew me to it. It was just, honestly, I started training in the gym just to get out of studying in year 12. That was what it was. I was very active growing up, so I stopped playing football and needed somewhere to put my energy.
Yeah.
And I think it was 1 or 2 years out of high school, I followed Arnold's blueprint to mass building off bodybuilding.com.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was like an 8-week plan that I followed religiously. And I saw some decent results for a little natty skinny kid.
Yeah.
And then after a few months, a few of the guys at the gym that I was training at was like, there's a comp in 8 weeks. Why don't you have a go? You're lean enough. I'm like, give everything a shot once at least. So gave it a shot and fell in love with it, I guess. And then things progress. You fall deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole. And here we are now.
It's like that. It really is a kind of, it's a really good way to describe it, a rabbit hole, because a lot of people I've talked to so far and stuff like that, they've always kind of said the same thing. It's not necessarily they've kind of had the idea of competing, but someone's kind of been like, oh, yo, you look pretty good, why don't you give it a go? And then you do it, and then you're like, holy shit, I love this is amazing. And then that's the start of that rabbit hole.
100%. So I fell into it by accident.
So that would have been the ICN show.
I think it was back in 2017, 2016, something like that.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming the more you did the second ICN show, and then the more you kind of got more into bodybuilding and the space and everything, that's what kind of drew you to the IFBB?
Yeah, well, I guess I always, set a high standard, and, once you fall into bodybuilding, you quickly find out what the Olympia is and where things can go and what can be achieved. And once you find out that there's only one road to that Olympia,
it's the best place to go.
There's only one place to be, really.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'll just bring up your thing. Let me hopefully it'll share the screen correctly. Can you see it? So is this is your latest physique update?
Yeah, I think it was from a few weeks back, but yeah, things look pretty much the same as that now.
Yeah, well, like I honestly, I think you've got an amazing, like from the back, your back thickness is there. You've got great shoulders, chest, and I think your legs have come, like your legs are there. Like I don't think that you're going. I mean, that's why I'm interested in, wanted to hear about when you think, you're ready to take that classic physique. Because
Yeah,
honestly, looking at the legs, I wouldn't say like you. It's not like some people in men's physique that have no legs.
yeah,
You're definitely very proportionate in my opinion.
yeah.
Obviously, everybody needs to continue to grow, and I think you can still fill out your frame a bit. But
Yeah,
I think that's going to do good. So I'm excited to hear that you finally, I guess, like you're saying, testing the waters.
yeah. Look, the legs will continuously be something that we need to bring up
Look at that for motivation. Now that's a transformation.
a little bit there.
It's
But yeah, look,
good.
it's just been a little bit of, I've had a few knee niggles that from playing football when I was younger that made, leg training a little bit more challenging than it
Yeah.
needed to be. Um,
So is that more like knee issues or?
yeah, just some little knee issues that, it's not an excuse, but it just makes getting
Oh,
things
I understand. I've had a couple of knee issues too, with like tendonitis and that, and it's
yeah,
pain.
yeah, same thing. So look, touch wood that we've,
Yeah,
for the time being at least, gotten on top of that. So I've been able to string, at least the better half of 2.5 months together now to get
that's
some
good.
good quad training in. But yeah, it's just getting the leg development up. And look, we're our harshest critic at the end of the day. And
Definitely.
I've been at every amateur IFBB show in Victoria, at least for the better half of the past 4 or 5 years. I've seen the classic division grow,
Yeah.
seen the standard of guys that are up there. And like I said, I don't want to be someone up there just for the sake of being up there.
You want to be competitive
Yeah, man, I want to give it a good shot. I want to look. The goal will be to look like I belong
on that
in
stage. Yeah.
the rather than just someone that's sitting in the last call out. And
Just here for fun.
yeah, exactly. So look, as soon as we got off stage at season A nationals, Mike said to me, "Next time we do it, we're doing classic."
Yeah.
So look, that's been the plan. So the plan's always to grow in the right areas, not rush it. And look, things have been ticking along nicely this off season. I'm happy with, I guess, the condition that I've held to be this weight now.
Yeah.
Um, like that photo that you just brought up, those photos were the same weight.
That's good.
So to be in the condition I am and holding a reasonable amount of weight, hopefully, a good portion of that sticks around.
And
And
you got more time to grow anyway, because if you don't do season B, you still got,
yeah, yeah, that's the plan.
wow.
Like I said, we don't want to rush it. We want to give ourselves the best opportunity to grow and grow properly, not
Hmm.
just slap some weight on and then have it all come off again.
Definitely.
So, and as I said before, it's a marathon, so there's no use rushing. The stage isn't going anywhere. Season B is where it's at.
I think that's a really good mindset to have. I feel that sometimes some athletes kind of forget about that. And it's good that
Yeah,
you really nudged in on that and you know what you need to do for yourself and you're ready to take that progression however long it takes.
yeah, that's it.
So back to kind of like your tendonitis or knee stuff. What kind of have you done to help manage it, or what did you have advice from Mike, or were you seeing
Yeah,
physio?
yeah. So look, Mike helped out with, like I said, me and Mike work closely together. Got the benefit of seeing him there every day. But we've got a great physio Mayo down at one gym as well, EJ, who we started working together once he started there. And, EJ is fantastic. He got onto it straight away, went through everything, went through movements. Look, and the best thing that EJ told me was to not stop training. He said,
Yeah.
find whatever range of motion you can still work in and still load up that range of motion as you normally would and just work to what you can and build from there. So me and EJ I still see him weekly now. But yeah, EJ pretty much got me back on the road.
That's good. It's annoying. Like I said, I had a similar thing, and I just remember it just sometimes just comes out of nowhere, and it really puts you off for
Yeah,
like 2 to 3 weeks until you kind of get back on top of it. And
yeah, it was
similar
just a
boat.
constant issue that kept coming up. That like it'd be in the back of your mind. And I remember being in prep with Mike and we'd be training legs and I'd be cautious of my knee and my adductor would go.
Yeah.
things like that. And it just sits in the back of your mind. You want to push it as hard as you can. And then this little voice just starts saying, what happens if your knee goes, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So we get over it. We deal with it.
definitely. So with that prep that you did with Mike, what are probably some of the, especially having the fortunate ability to train with him throughout the whole time and have that guidance, what has probably been the biggest, I guess, highlights or learning experiences that you'll kind of take on into, your season B prep compared to, I guess, in regard, when you were coaching yourself?
Look, one of the big things that you learn very quickly with Mike is just intensity levels. Um, it's very rare that look, it's not Mike never drops intensity. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So when you're around that, that bleeds through pretty quickly. There really isn't an excuse as to why your intensity isn't there. You haven't gotten a meal in. You didn't get your cardio done. That shit just doesn't get through. So
Yeah.
that's come through to me, thankfully. But it's just this relentless pursuit to be your best. If you have a goal, everything you do should be, to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
If it's not, then essentially why are you doing it?
He definitely does. You can even see that just through, social media. And I remember when I used to see him training at Ashmore back in the day with Sam and that, he just gives off this energy of that relentless, pursuit of ticking every box, doing whatever must be done, no matter what. And I think
Yeah,
it's really good to, like you said, be fortunate enough that you can train the same gym as him, be a part of the same team. And, it's all about the environment that you're in and how, if got a winner's circle, you're going to be a winner.
100%, man. And look, I strongly believe that there is no other place in Australia, if you're a bodybuilder, that you'd want to be in other than one gym.
Yeah.
Alone from having Mike there prepping for, he's prepping for season A. So you're seeing that, and we've got others in there. We've got Nathan Williamson. He's a pro
Yeah.
prepping for a show coming up, I think. Kelly as well.
Yeah.
Summit doing a show next year. That's another pro. Bridget, she prepped for her bikini shows all year and was like, where else would you want to be if you're an amateur?
Bodybuilding. Yeah.
Everywhere you look, you've got a pro.
Inspiring.
Yeah, man.
Do you think so? After coming off that prep and learning that, I guess, intensity that you got to carry with yourself, did you find it hard, migrating that into your daily life with not working alongside Mike? Because obviously you haven't always been, or did you continue to train with him after your shows constantly, or was there a bit of separation? If so, you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, how did you learn
Yeah.
to? Did you
Look,
find a challenge with it?
I was fortunate enough before I got with Mike that I was pretty, on top of
Yeah.
everything as it was. I guess that's why he asked, me to train with him for the prep. He's not like he asks every guy in the gym to
Yeah. Yeah.
train with him. So that was a big compliment for me to have someone like him say, listen, I think you've got what it takes to train with me. So let's go. So, I had no dramas running through, once prep was done. But I just took everything that I learned with prep with him into my training. We've both got goals that we want to achieve with our physiques that, our training may not line up or whatever, but, there's always the opportunity to get a session. Mike's always down for a hack squat session whenever you're ready. So
Of course.
the opportunity's always there, thankfully for me. So like I said, it's hard not to learn and grow when you're in that environment.
Definitely. Sounds like you've got the perfect setup almost.
Yeah, it couldn't be much better.
So that's kind of the question is, I'm really interested on is because hear lots of different things within the industry, within different people you talk to, and you dating Ruby, a fellow athlete and stuff. I'm just curious, kind of how that's been, being in a relationship with another athlete. Do you think there's been more benefits to cons? Did you both? I'm assuming you both did prep last time together, so kind of, how was that experience? Was that the first time you guys did something like that together?
Yeah, well, we pretty much got together at the just before Christmas last year, and pretty much jumped into prep together straight away, which really tested the waters for an early relationship, but I think we both feel that it couldn't have gone any better. It was her first show, so she didn't really know what she was sort of getting into. I had done a few, so I kind of had an idea of what to
Yeah.
expect. But it was it was comforting to know that your other half, who your significant other, was, most of the time feeling the same way that you were. So we went through it all together, the highs, lows, and all of that. And honestly, we wouldn't have had it any other way. I think we both pretty much feel that if one of us is prepping, it's probably best if the other one's prepping too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, she'll do season B as well next year, and you know, we worked really well together, both of us being in prep. Not that I think we wouldn't work well together if one was and one wasn't, but you hear it a lot that someone wouldn't be able to prep if their significant other was
Yeah.
prepping too. For us, man, it seemed to click really well.
No, it's good to hear. I think it's also, a good way, I guess, is to really find out if the relationship's going to work in some way. They say if you can prep with your partner, or if your partner can
100%,
understand
man.
your prepping, you're good. So to get
Like
it all the way out of the way straight away,
if I had any doubts at all that she wasn't the one, then squash them pretty quickly after prep.
what do you think has been, I guess, what were some of the cons, would you say? Would you say there wasn't necessarily any challenges or road bumps, prepping together, or it was
Honestly,
pretty,
I don't think there was any real cons to it at
yeah,
all. We both had our shitty days that we may have been feeling down or whatever, second guessing, but that's what the other one was there for. So yeah, man, I wouldn't say there was any negatives to it at all.
very fortunate, very, very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
So back to, I guess, your men's physique division and competing in that. So after your last show, what kind of was the judges' feedback, and what was the plan in the way of growing, and what needed to be done? Because
Yeah,
you
so
came first, did you, in your
third,
third?
yeah. So judges' feedback was size was pretty much there. Conditioning could have been a little bit better, especially through the midsection, which was fine. You're not going to nail it every time.
Yeah.
But we learned from it. But it was good to know that, the size was there. It had been a few years since I had jumped on stage, and the men's physique guys are just getting bigger every year. So to know that
Crazy.
size wasn't an issue was great. But look, overall, it was just to come in tighter. So out of any feedback to get, I guess it's the best feedback.
Yeah, really and truly, you only need to worry about that conditioning, which can always be done.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you got to give yourself, I guess, more time to grow or worry about a particular body part.
Yeah.
So in that regard, then, was there a reason for the prolong to step back on stage again? Was it more due to COVID, or?
So after 2018, yeah, it was COVID.
Yeah.
But after season A, it was just to give myself a little bit more time to give Classic a good run. Like I said, as soon as we got off stage, it was right. We'll do Classic next. Yeah, we just wanted that time to grow and grow properly.
Well, it looks like you're right on the track, so I'm excited to see where that kind of heads up in season B. It's going to be good. So I'm interested on, what's your opinion? I had a Callum on who worked with Mike in that for season A, season B and juniors and that. So I was just interested, I asked him and he gave some really good points. So I'm interested to ask another person kind of what is outside, I guess, of, Mike. He obviously seems to be the biggest presence and the biggest benefit of, one team, one gym. But I guess what else, other aspects, do you find is the best or highlights of being a part of that community? He's really, I think it's really important. I think it's great that a lot more coaches are, following suit in that manner, building such a great community.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, man. With having one team, all the guys that compete, I come from a team sport background, so to have a team behind you it's a comforting feeling.
Yeah.
It's nice to have people to talk to, bounce off that, most of the time are feeling the same way you are, wanting to achieve the same things you are. So that's definitely a benefit. But the one gym community itself down there just makes things a hell of a lot easier. It's a comforting place to be in. It's a motivating place to be in, and everything that they had a vision. Mike and T, his wife,
Yeah.
when they opened up of what they wanted it to be, and they've smashed that out of the park. From the equipment to having your recovery upstairs and physios on hand, cafe that cooks macro friendly meals, and everything's there. But down to the people as well, the community just makes it.
I think that's really important. I feel like that's also something that, unfortunately we're losing a bit in commercial gyms these days too, is that community or that team of, select people. Ashmore still has it to a degree, but definitely, compared to in the past with,
Yeah,
Sam
man.
going to Iron Asylum and that.
Um, it's hard to be, I guess, a bodybuilder in a commercial gym.
Yeah.
Um, Me and Mike were up training at, I can't remember which gym it was, when we were up there for the nationals, and we both got told off for being too noisy. And
Really?
it's like, fuck, man, we're just here training,
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, so it's like it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to be a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
especially when you're training at the intensity that you train
Yeah.
with Mike. It's hard to be quiet.
You're gonna
So
be loud.
yeah, you're gonna be loud, man. But it's nice to have a place where you can 100% be what you want to be, train the way you want to
Yeah.
train, not feel like you're being judged or looked at differently.
Definitely. No, I'm really excited to finally get a trip down to Melbourne, hopefully soon, and
Yeah, man,
definitely check out the gym.
for sure, man, for sure. The equipment's next level now that it took its time to get down there, but with all this prime and arsenal,
Yeah,
there's
I saw that and I was a bit jealous when I saw the prime stuff getting put in there. I was like, fuck,
yeah,
that's
man.
good shit.
If
Some
you
good
can't
equipment.
make gains down at one gym, you're not going to make gains anywhere.
Anywhere, literally. Yeah, I saw he posted something on his Instagram a couple of days ago, and it was like, anywhere got a shed or a location on, Gold Coast. So, hopefully that might mean that he's maybe bringing a one gym up here, which would be nice.
Hopefully, he was up at up at Queensland before he was down here in Melbourne.
Yeah,
So I think they've got a soft spot for Queensland. So
be good. We need
so
more
it's
gyms,
results. Yeah,
definitely. So in your, I guess, current type of off season, how is that kind of, because it's been a bit of a more, I guess, prolonged off season, we'll call it. What has kind of been your, I guess, protocols or in regards to, have you just been bulking the whole time? Have you been doing mini cuts in between? What's kind of, what's got you doing at the moment to kind of optimize everything?
yeah. Look, we just pretty much food slowly increased from coming out of show. Made sure everything was in a good spot health wise. So we've got our bloods done and everything else coming out of the show. Fixed whatever needed to be fixed up, which thankfully there wasn't anything that was too bad.
Alarming. Yeah,
Yeah. So just touched up a few things, and then it's just been consistently ticking the boxes, man. I don't think there's anything special to it. I don't think there's nothing that needs to be too overcomplicated. Training intensity all the time, food in, and that's about it, man. We've slowly increased food throughout. I think we're pushing 5,500 calories now. Just come off a health phase again.
yeah,
Make sure again everything's good to go. Get the bloods done. Bring things down a little bit, but no real mini cuts at all, man. Like I said, things have held quite nicely, so we haven't had the need to put the brakes on, drop some fat.
that's
So
good.
yeah, as long as things keep ticking along, we should be able to get one more push in now before prep starts at the end of May, and yeah, I would be very confident with the position we're be in.
That's good. So would you say this is the most amount of food or maybe the heaviest you've been
Oh yeah,
overall? How
yeah,
have you kind of dealt with the challenges that's kind of occurred?
yeah, man. The food's been the biggest challenge for sure. Anyone who's down at one gym or knows Mike knows that he puts away a good amount of food, and
Crazy.
it's people often say, oh, you know, his people love seeing him eat his cereal bowls post workout. He'll sit there with this massive cake mixing bowl filled with crazy amounts of cereal, fruits, yogurts, whatever else he's got in there.
That's
And
crazy.
the amount of people that will walk past and say, damn, I wish I could eat that. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You really don't want to be eating that. It's, you know, maybe once, but when you're doing that daily, and look, I'm not putting away anywhere near as much food as what he is, but there's a lot of food going in for me at least.
Yeah.
That look, that's the biggest challenge, is just making sure I'm getting that food in daily, which look, we've got it down. Doesn't mean it's been enjoyable, but we've got it done.
Well, what's been the, I guess, the easiest way to, you know, kind of get around that? Like, have you put in a management, like a pattern that you kind of do? You have particular meals at certain times that digest better?
Yeah, look, as to Mike's discretion, of my first meal is a shake in the morning, just because I can't stand eating, and
Yeah.
Mike puts out of me for it every day. But I get that shake in the morning when I'm doing clients, because the last thing I want to do is wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning to
Need something.
smash down a meal. I don't think there'd be anything worse. But look, I'm lucky. Most of the foods I'm eating, I enjoy.
That's good.
You know, Mike sets a pretty good meal plan. I don't think many people would complain with eating a bowl of pasta a day and
Definitely
a bowl
not.
of cereal. So, look, the food. I think the main thing is, when you're putting down that much food, the taste goes. But if there's some little enjoyment that you get from having it, you know,
Yeah.
it's like I'm eating chicken and rice every meal.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty fortunate, I guess.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. You know, I'm very similar. I just see the same things day in, day out. And it's just kind of like I have like little things in between, or, you know, I have like a chicken and rice meal, and then, okay, I'll have like, you know, let's say my shake and some yogurt or whatever it may be. It's just like that break in between is kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
yes, get finished the chicken and rice, have something a little bit different. That's nice. Okay, back to chicken and rice.
Yeah.
Just, you know, train that
Yeah.
mental thoughts.
Look, man, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just consistency.
Yeah,
The more consistent you are with it, the better the results will be. So it's, I think I guess it's a newbie thing to want to change your meals every day and enjoy everything you're eating. When you've done it for long enough, that goes out the door pretty quickly. It's just, what
definitely.
can you get in and what can you keep down?
Yeah, and digest the easiest. And I think, you know, that's that biggest thing of, especially, you know, I've heard a lot of people talk about this lately, to do with prep too. Like, you know, if you're trying to change your meals, meet certain needs, like by the time you get to that close to that peak weight or whatever, you have a refeed, you know, you have something that you haven't been having all prep, it ends up fucking you up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I learned in prep, you know, with Mike. I was wanting to have things that I hadn't had most of the prep, and he's just like, there's no need for it. You know, your stomach's used to digesting certain foods, so let's just
Stick
stick
with
to
that.
those foods. We know they work. We know what we can do with them. You know how much of them you can handle, so just stick to it.
Very important to learn. What's your like current, if you don't mind sharing, because I know some people, you know, think, you know, are not so about it, but what's your like your current training split, and
Yeah.
what you're kind of been enjoying the most, and how you kind of approach your training? Because, you know, everyone has a different type of
Yeah.
idea of what to do and how you think it should be done. I understand, you know, principle is always intensity and progressive
Yeah.
overload. So just
Yeah.
interested how Mike's set up for you.
Yeah. So as soon as we got back on top of, well, the main thing was just managing my knees at the start, you know,
Yep.
to be able to get the leg sessions in, have my knees recover, and be able to continuously train. So once we got on top of that, it's back to 2 leg days a week, one hemi focused and one quad focused. My back is, I guess, one of my stronger points. So we've kept that down to once a week.
Yep.
And then arms, we've been hitting, I think there was one point where we were doing 3 arm sessions a week in the morning, just to bring them up to match, I guess, the rest of my torso section, chest and back, because who can ever have big enough
Big
arms?
enough arms. Agreed. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, so one of the areas we've been wanting to bring up was my arms, which we'll continue to focus on, you know, through prep as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much most of it's been like a push day, a pull day, legs fitting in around them.
And then
And
arms.
yeah, arms everywhere else.
Get a good flow going. Make sure
Yeah,
you
man.
have everything you need. It's
Yeah.
important. So just kind of change topics a little bit completely. What was your thoughts of the Olympia and especially being, I guess, a men's physique competitor? What did you think of Brendan coming second and losing to what's his name? Eric Banks.
Yeah. Look, it could have been a flip of the coin. They both looked unreal. I don't think anyone would have argued if Brandon had a won again.
Yeah,
Um, so look, they both look great. Could have been a flip in the coin. And it could have been the same for men's bodybuilding.
definitely.
Between that top three, I don't think anyone would have complained if Nick won. I
Yeah.
don't think
Or
anyone would have
Derek.
complained if Derek won. I think it was the most fairly judged Olympia we've seen in a
Definitely.
while.
Which was good to see, which was really good
Yeah,
to see.
and I think Big Ramy was lucky to place top five.
Yep.
I could have seen Samson up a bit higher. Um, you know, Nick's conditioning was crazy. Samson just had a beautiful shape, beautiful flow. Brandon, he came in big, but his legs just
Yeah, too
missed.
full.
Yeah, too full again. Um, and that top 10 was a good top 10, man. I think Hunter got a little lucky with his top 10.
Mm.
William Bonac from the back was crazy, as he always is. Um, yeah, man, I think you could have plucked anyone out of that sort of top 15 and put them anywhere in that top,
Yeah.
10 area, and I don't think many people would have batted an eye to it. Raphael looked
He
crazy.
did. It was awesome to see him make that top 10.
Yeah, man, Raphael looked crazy. But yeah, man, it was just a very fairly judged Olympia, and classic Chris Bumstead just set the standard again.
Yeah. I just at this point, I think he's just unbeatable. Like he's just going
Yeah,
to keep going till he doesn't want to.
how many he wants, how long he wants to do it for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. They weren't even battling for second by the time he walked out. It
No.
was who's closing out this top 10.
Yeah.
No one. He had first, second, and third down pat.
Do you think Huddy can win again next year?
I think we're going to flip through a few guys for a few years now. I can't see anyone being a dominant force like a
Yeah.
Phil or a Ronnie or a Jay. But yeah, I think for the next few years we'll have it a bit of a hot potato.
Do you think that, I do agree. In my opinion, I think that, we could for the next couple of years, Hardy could win again. We could go Derek next year, could go Nick. I think those three, I feel like this might be the end. I feel like they might start to really push Brandon and Rami further out now.
Yeah,
Um, do you think that that's also going to happen, or do you think that Brandon and Rami could make that comeback?
I think Brandon potentially, could hold on to his top five placing. But I can't see Big Ramy coming back.
Yeah,
He was definitely worse than what he was last year. It wasn't an improved package. His condition wasn't better. If
Mhm.
anything, a little bit worse. And whatever issues he's having with his back and triceps, and those little holes in his quads just are standing out more and more every year. So I can't see that. It's not like it's a condition problem that he can fix and
Yeah.
hope it looks right. But yeah, I can't see him getting back to being close to the top guy again.
Like, especially to the fact that even Steve Weinberg came out and spoke about it and how disappointed he was. Like, that's a really big thing to happen.
Yeah, man. Look, it's not often that we see the guy go from, or Mr. Olympia go from first down to fifth.
Yeah.
So, that's a statement in itself. And like we said before, I think he was lucky to fall into fifth.
Yeah. Could
I
have
don't
flipped.
think, yeah, I don't think anyone would have complained if he was called out in sixth place. So, yeah, man, I can't see him jumping back up much higher than where he was this year.
Yeah. 100%. To kind of just go back, because speaking about this kind of gave me a thought. Are you what's kind of the, I guess, long-term goal for you within bodybuilding? and I ask this from the context of, I understand, we all want a pro card, we all want to become professionals, we all want to make it, our job. Whether we are fortunate enough to do that or not, time will tell. But, outside of that pro card, I guess, is the long-term goal to slowly progress and go, okay, classics the division for me. I just want to, keep pursuing this, or is it I just want to have a really successful competitive career, or I want to eventually make my way over to open, kind of, at this point in time where you're at, what do you think is that long-term goal?
Yeah, look, I think the long-term goal overall would be to be in competitive pro. Um, Again, whether I fall into men's physique or classic, yes, I'd love for it to be in classic physique. I think everybody would love to be, the it guy for classic.
Yeah.
Seems to be everyone's fantasy as a bodybuilder. But at the end of the day, I'd just love to be a competitive pro and be recognized as, I guess, one of, but hopefully Australia's top competitive pros. If I do manage to get that pro card, I think that'd be fantastic. I'd love to take the opportunity to, compete as a pro overseas. And look, man, everything, even that outside of being a pro that comes along with it, a successful coaching business, being able to travel and do what you love. I think, it's very easy to just look at what a pro card is, but the things that can come along with being a successful bodybuilder, the lifestyle that can come with it, being able to set up a future where me and Ruby are able to travel, compete, live overseas for a few months, and that all be because we've done well competing and we've got a successful online coaching business, or we've been sponsored for something, everything else that can come along with it too.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I think, that's one of I do think is somewhat, I guess, the main goal of this sport is, the benefits that it can bring in your everyday life outside of, the competitive side of it. Like you're saying, being able to, travel and live overseas for a couple of years, have the fun of competing overseas, experiencing new places, all those different benefits that come with it.
Definitely. Definitely.
Also, onto your coaching business. So how did that kind of come about with you and Ruby, and I guess how long has that been happening and how's it been going?
So we were both, I guess, dabbling in online coaching, um, before we put the business together.
Mm-hmm.
I had been doing it just a touch longer than Ruby. She um, was fresh into PTing at the start of the year, so she's kicked ass coming out of season A and picked up, a heap of face-to-face
Yeah.
clients. And I think it was about a month or so after, um, we competed that I said to her, listen, we just got to make the most of just competing. She was getting some good traction. She did, incredibly well in her first show. So I said, let's put this together and run with it. Make the most of the traction that we're getting now. And it's been the best thing we've done, man.
That's good. I think they're definitely, utilizing, like you're saying, you place well in a show. It's a great way to kind of, you know, get people in that way and show, hey guys, I've done the walk, I know,
Yeah.
what needs to be done, and I can share that with you.
Yeah.
And then so like you said, you're fortunate enough that you've been running that out of one gym, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So we both PT out of one gym, which has been fantastic. Um, as great of a place as it is to train, I don't think there's many other gyms that I'd rather work out of as a PT. And yeah, look, even as an online coach, to have Mike there to bounce off and learn from any questions I might have or Ruby might have about, what we should do with a client if we're, questioning things or, a little stuck. There's no other mentor I'd rather have.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Very.
Where, I guess, do you have any like long-term goals that you mind sharing of that? or for the coaching business? Like, some people want to, eventually have their own gym, or,
Yeah.
want to take it international.
Yeah, I think the biggest goal with the business for myself and Ruby now is to get the online coaching to a point where we can both sort of step away from face-to-face clients and not have that be, I guess, our main time consumer during the week. We both love being face-to-face clients. It's not that we don't enjoy it. It's just, the 5 a.m. wake ups you get over them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And just cutting that back to maybe just a handful of clients face to face and having it predominantly all online.
Yeah.
Especially for when it comes to
Right.
compete.
Yeah.
Our main goal for the first half of the year is to get our online clients up to a point where when prep comes around, we can sort of, step back from having those early morning clients and just have those first couple of hours of the day just to get, our first meal in, get our cardio done and set us up for the day. So yeah, long term it'd be to, be able to pick up and go wherever we want, whenever we want, that laptop lifestyle sort of thing would be great, especially, when it comes to, we want to do the amateur Olympia in November next year. So to be able to still be working and
Yeah.
overseas competing would be fantastic.
Yeah. I was just about to ask you that if you had any plans of doing an international so you eyes are kind of set on that, the
Yeah,
amateur.
was just speaking to Mike about it today, actually. It lines up pretty perfectly after the season B nationals. I think it's
I heard it's very, very close, like a week or something
it's pretty much off stage at the nationals,
on a plane.
playing, and it's party time. So yeah, it'll be good. I think I'd prefer it like that. It's not that way. It's not a long, another few weeks
Yeah.
prep out. So yeah, we'll do the amateur Olympia in November next year. And yeah, it'll be our first show.
Enjoy that experience.
Yeah, definitely an experience. Look, there's no expectations on anything. I think the level of athlete overseas, especially in the States, is
Yeah.
next level to what we see here. Not taking away from any of the guys that compete here, but I just think there's another level over there across every division. So it'll be good to test the waters over there.
Definitely.
Whatever happens, happens, but enjoy it all.
100%. And I think it's great. It's really important. Half the reason I started the podcast was to, find a way to, help, give more exposure to athletes, whether pro or amateurs. And, because we are so segregated to the rest of the world. So it's really great to see, this was the first year where we had so many, we had our first Australian bikini Olympian, men's physique Olympian. We've had a couple, Emma Bowman, she won a pro card in Japan. Marlette won her Hawaiian show. It's great to see so many athletes, stepping overseas, doing international. So it's awesome to hear, more are hopefully going to follow suit like yourselves next year.
Yeah, man. And I think you have to have any chance of being a decent pro or having a chance of being a decent pro, you need to be going overseas, whether it's as an amateur or not, but especially as a pro, you need to be over there. And to start it as an amateur, get used to things, get your name out there a little bit more. Gone are the days of relying on having an Aussie pro show and
Unfortunately.
winging our way to an Olympia.
Yeah. Last question to kind of wrap things up. Is there any, I guess, advice that you'd like to give to anybody listening? Whether it be, coaching related, first time competitors, or just, advice for any competitors, veterans, anything, just, anything for anyone listening. Is there anything that you particularly like to?
I think one of the things I can recommend or, suggest, my piece of advice would be get a coach that you can trust, get a coach that understands what you want to achieve and understands the direction you want to go. But also a coach that can, keep you on that track, not let you stray too far or not jump too high, but keep you in a way realistic of what you can achieve. But at the same time, don't expect that coach to get it right the first time. I think we see a lot of guys jumping from coach to coach and expecting to get the perfect result every time. Half the time, you don't know how your body works. So I can't see someone coming in and telling you in 12 weeks that they're going to get it right. So,
Definitely.
take the time with a coach, work with them, get to know them, let them get to know you. And, as cliche as it sounds, but just trust the process. This shit takes time. We're not all going to be Ronnie Coleman overnight.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that point is really, really important. It takes time, for if you're not a genetic freak, it takes time for a coach to learn your body and learn how it works, especially if you haven't completely understood it yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that, some people think just one show is enough, but I don't think it is. What just briefly, what do you think is your opinion? Do you how long, if someone came to you and said, how long should I stick with a coach to really, some people say 3 shows, some people say, what do you think that lucky number is?
Look, I don't think there is a lucky number. Again, I think it's being realistic. If it's your first show and you didn't place as well as you thought, and you're like, "Yep, it was the coach's fault." Truth is, it was probably your fault and you didn't stick to the plan.
Yeah,
Because more often than not, if you stick to the plan, you'd get the results. But look, to an extent, you've got to go with your, gut instincts and, have people to bounce off,
definitely.
have people in your corner that, can objectively sit there and be like, listen, it was the coach or it wasn't the coach.
Yeah,
I definitely don't think one show's enough. I think, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be more than that. But, the results tell the story. If you're doing a Terrence and you're going from second down to sixth, then, you might have some questions to ask.
yeah,
But if you're constantly knocking on that door and you're in that top 3, then, it might just be the little things that need to be tweaking, and it might be just a matter of time.
yeah, definitely 100%. It's that as long as you're seeing progress and nothing stalling, I think, like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You got to
Yeah,
give the coach the benefit of the doubt.
100%.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a
Pleasure,
pleasure
man. Thank
talking to
you.
you, man. And I'm excited for everyone to have a listen.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
It's all right. Have a great rest of the day, man.